2026 sees me travel the length and breadth of England to run a marathon per week in each of its 39 historic counties. Why? To raise funds for Tommy's, the charity that does incredible work to try to end the heartbreak of baby loss. I'll be joined each week by someone who has their own story of loss, their own rollercoaster journey, their own reason to be there. This podcast shares those stories in the hope that they can bring awareness to an often undiscussed topic and even, perhaps, a flicker of light in someone's darkness. You can follow the runs, the stories, and donate to the cause at marathonsformiracles.com. Enjoy. Hello, welcome to Marathons for Miracles Week 20.
Wow.
Officially halfway this week when we hit the half. When we hit, thanks, mate. Yeah, when we hit the halfway point in Leeds at the weekend, we will be halfway through the challenge as a whole. So,
we need to celebrate that point. You remember?
That's quite a nice milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll come up with something, Tom. We'll stop and have a bit of something.
Yeah.
So we're going PB run.
Hopefully.
PB run.
See, we've got some plans for the run in Leeds. We'll talk about the running a little bit more later on. See what we're gonna do. But this week, joined by Tom for the running and for the podcast, is also his wife Amy, who are long-term friends. The reason we're doing the Yorkshire leg with them is because they all knew my wife Amy at Leeds, and then subsequently we all lived together for a bit in London. And so yeah, we go way back. So it's great to have you guys join the challenge. I think Tom probably was my first phone call.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because as again, you'll learn later when we talk a bit more about running, he was someone that I knew would definitely say yes.
And
but also
knew a lot of people probably as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like talking and running.
Exactly. And also, as we will learn more about in the next hour or so, have a very good reason to want to run for Tommy's and a link to the cause that we're running for. So, hello, welcome to the podcast and to the challenge, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for the introduction.
So, we'll dive in, as ever, with the usual question and ask you guys what it is that led you to be involved with Marathons for Miracles as a challenge and with Tommy's and their cause as a charity.
First of all, thank you for being the first call. That was very nice. I think the main thing for us, obviously, as anyone who listens to this, and I think it came up with Johnny's podcast as well, I do like a chat and a run. I think we're quite social runners as a group. What brought us to this was, unfortunately, the clouded topic that is miscarriages and the fact it happens to everyone, and it just isn't spoken about enough. Even when I talk about it in certain circles, I have to be careful about like what I say to who's listening to it. It's still so clouded. It's still such a okay, yeah, cool. Yeah. So what's going on over there at the moment?
Well, often it's from close friends. You speak to them, particularly if you when you're running. So it's like your therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's when they open up and you realise you've known them for a long time, but it's something that's never been talked about.
Yeah. Johnny, I probably reference Johnny quite a lot in this, but he does have to deal with me running with him and speaking quite a lot. And people have heard
just
Johnny.
To remind everyone, Johnny ran the Cheshire leg with us in week 3, I think, long time ago, but
maybe week 3 or 4, yeah. And Johnny's a really good example of like why we're here today, because I go out on a Friday morning, Sunday morning with Johnny, and we just chat and we just enjoy running. We enjoy being outside, and you forget like the stories that have come before. Obviously, Johnny's situation happened a while ago. Our situation was very fresh, and these things were happening real time. I was going, we were going, and I was able to get out, run with Johnny, and just look in the sky and just get rid of that negative energy that sits with with miscarriages. And we're big believers in to get the negative energy out of things, to get the energy out of issues. You talk about it, right? So coming back to your question, why we're here today is unfortunately Amy and we went through 3 miscarriages in a row. We'll come on to. Obviously, we have a very nice story because we've got a beautiful daughter, Florence. Then we went through this like higgledy-piggledy, just over a year of miscarriages.
Miscarriages,
Of
sorry.
miscarriages
Yeah,
with
so
Florence.
start from the beginning. We got pregnant with Florence straight away, no problems. And the whole pregnancy was great, wasn't it?
Oh, it's great. We got married, went on honeymoon,
And got pregnant all within
yeah.
a month of
You're like,
getting married.
we're good at this. Like, we know what we're doing. This is proper stuff. And then Florence was 1.
Yeah.
And we were like, cool, let's go again. And it was great. First time, whack again.
Got pregnant straight away.
Yeah.
So it seemed to be that the problem wasn't for us getting pregnant, it was keeping it, wasn't it?
Keeping it, yeah. So we were so cool.
You obviously didn't know at the time.
Yeah. No.
First one had just sailed through, got pregnant again, thought we're off.
Yeah. So we just had this like confidence that everything would be okay.
But again, coming back to the point of why we're here today, you just don't expect it to happen to you. Like, before you go through it and before you have those conversations with the likes of Johnny, and you realize that a hell of a lot of people, I don't know the stats.
It's only once you've been through it that you then learn how many other people have been through it and how common it is.
1 in 4 pregnancies.
Yeah, which is mad.
And that's the conservative estimate that Tommy's give out. They think it's probably closer to 1 in 3, but the statistics around it are not as well documented as they could and probably should be.
But so we had Florence, came into the second one, miscarriage hadn't even crossed our minds or thought about it. We just had sex, got pregnant. Oh, we're good at this life thing. We're so lucky. We're in such a privileged position. And we even, I remember when on the first miscarriage, we were even going out buying Florence little baby grows with like, I'm a big sister, and like telling people and doing.
That was early on, wasn't it? That was about 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8-ish weeks. And then
about 10 weeks, I started bleeding, but it was only a light bleed. And I was like, what is this? This isn't right. And then, just had a miscarriage at home.
But this is how
unexpectedly, and didn't really know what to expect physically from it, and also emotionally afterwards, I guess.
And that was the first one. But it was so interesting because Amy had a little bit of bleeding, and we were like, cool, bleeding's fine, probably a bit of Googling. Yeah, a little bit's fine.
Plantation bleed.
Yeah, all the normal stuff. So I actually help out with a local race called Crystalton 5K. I was there, and Amy's calling me going,
are you advertising that, by the way?
Yeah, little plug.
I'll edit that out. I was at a race called, and Amy called me.
But yeah, so Amy's calling me going, Tom, something's not right here. I'm bleeding. We're like, cool. Amy, I'm just doing the rubbish round on the race. Like, I'm just on my bike picking up all the bottles that are left over. Can you just wait a bit and I'll be back home soon? And she was like, no, Tom, like something's not right at all. And I never, ever forget it. You happy for me to?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember cycling home going, gosh, something's not right. And I got home and Amy was sitting in the bath, like this bath full of blood, like with a cup of tea that her mum had given me. And she was just, and everyone who knows Amy, you know Amy, she's not a crier. She's not like, she's super strong. Not that it's not okay not to be strong, but she's just, you don't often see her in that sort of emotional state. So I walked into this room, she's drinking a cup of tea in a blood-filled bath. My wife's in tears. And it was just such a realization, an introduction to, wow, this is real. This is what miscarriages are like. And that is like where the sort of hole starts developing in your chest where you're like, oh, we've lost a baby that we had sort of.
And what's mad, it's so sudden. And it's like where you envisioned your life going in the future is just completely erased, just like that. And you just don't expect that at all, do you?
No. And we looked into it, spoke to a few people, like, doctors and stuff. And they're just like, oh, it's just unfortunate, right?
Yeah. And it's like, miscarriage is common. 1 in 4 stat. Sorry that you've been a part of that sort of thing. But they couldn't test the tissue, obviously, because I'd miscarried at home.
Yeah.
But with the second one.
So just start again. So then you got over that. We waited a month.
Yeah.
So this is all happening very like short space of time. And this is where it'd be great if we knew about Tommy's, because at that time it's easy to look back on it now and realize how little knowledge we had. And it would have been great at that time to have Tommy's as just like a point of contact to go, it's cool. This is what normally happens. This is what you should be expecting. That would have been a big one. Like just to manage some expectation rather than just going into things blind. So we started trying for the third time, because we had one. This is the second time. Again, got pregnant straight away. Fantastic. Obviously there was a few concerns. So we went in for an early scan.
Yeah.
Early scan, we saw the heartbeat, fetus heartbeat, you know. We were like, here we go, we're cooking. And we actually went in so confident because Amy was very big for the second one. Weirdly, you've been small for most of yours, right?
I think I wasn't big. I would say I had more like physical symptoms now of being pregnant.
But also you had a belly that was growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we seen the heartbeat, went in for the 12-week scan. I think it ended up being about 13 weeks because we were just a bit late to the scan. Went into the hospital, horrible room that we kept going back to. And they were like, we were confident because Amy was having symptoms. She had a belly. We'd seen the heartbeat. There was not one aspect, ounce of us that thought it was going to be bad news. My mom and dad were even here, do you remember?
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, just popping down.
To Florence.
Yeah, just popping down for a scan. And unfortunately, the hospital...
They were just silent, weren't they? The sonographer silent for like ages and didn't like say anything to say what the silence meant.
It was bad. That was really bad.
It really wasn't dealt with very well. And I actually think sonographers should be given more training.
Way more
delivering bad news.
Yeah, would you call that trauma training, like, or just emotional?
They do say, don't they? Don't worry if I go quiet for a while or something.
Yeah, true.
Wonder if.
I don't think that's the best advice.
Well, no. I guess also at the same time though, they don't want to tell you bad news
if it's not
before it's definite. Before it's.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's a bit of a lose-lose for them, really, isn't it? But I also remember like just being really shocked when we were like, what? We were not expecting this.
Well, yeah, super confident. They looked at us and said, sorry, this baby's not alive. And then I remember it so well, then they ushered us out into the waiting room where everyone's having all their positive scans.
People are coming out with their photos of like the scan.
And Amy's in...
I'm like trying to hold back tears because it was such a juxtaposition of people in that corridor. Like, you know, everyone's delighted and happy and seeing their baby for the first time.
Yeah, and what's the logic? Like, I get the sonographer's then moving. You then go to speak to a midwife or a doctor or something who is properly trained to deal with that situation. And the next steps, the sonographer's just like, this is.
Yeah.
I've seen what I've seen. This isn't my bag anymore. But yeah, it's sort of.
That's wrong. Which is very much how it felt, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. But when Amy started crying. I think they sort of realised and were like, okay, actually, do you want to go out the back door? And they sort of took us back through the waiting room reception where everyone was having positive photos and stuff. And then like we went upstairs into a back door, and then up to see the midwife, who in that second instance was very good, because with this second miscarriage, you happy for me to say, Amy's body didn't recognise it was a miscarriage, did it? So it wouldn't. It was still growing, like Amy was still having all these pregnancy
symptoms because the hormones were still in there.
Yeah, so that was a pretty dark time.
So then what comes with that is being told, okay, right, this isn't a viable pregnancy anymore, and now you need to decide how you're gonna like terminate it, basically. So you're told this like life-changing, devastating news, and then it's like, here's 3 options. Like
checklists.
Wow. Yeah.
But they were really good, the hospital, weren't they? So they actually did a bit of research into... So Amy went in for an operation to have the fetus removed, and they did a load of tests on it, and Amy had this very rare, can we call it a condition?
I guess so.
Situation called a molar pregnancy, which is 1 in 500,000 child. I'm not going to say stats, actually, because I've been making it up, but I think it's around that.
It's basically 2 sperm fertilise one egg.
successfully, and it
Or
implants.
it was a partial molar pregnancy. I can't remember the
Isn't
proper
that-
medical term, but yeah, it never would have worked
No, they do go chromosomally.
chromosomally.
Chromosomally is a word that I have learned how to say after probably about 16 weeks. It's so
Chromosomally, it would have been not good. So Amy went in for an operation, her first ever operation. You were very brave, weren't you?
Yeah, first general, wasn't it?
Yeah, as Amy.
they put you under general.
Well, again, that was another decision. I could
Yeah.
have gone under general or local, and luckily spoke to good friends from home, from best friends as well, Amy, and a lot of the girls said, do not go under local. You don't want to be present with what they're about to do. Like, why
Yeah.
would you want to be? Even though you can't feel anything, why do you want to see that? So it's like, that makes so much sense. So yeah, I decided general, and it was all done in the blink of an eye to me.
Not to me. I was honestly on my phone like, oh my god, is she gonna be okay? Is she gonna be okay? I remember, and I got to the hospital, and you still hadn't come back. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? But the hospital dealt with that very well, didn't they? They sent it away for tests. We found out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The only problem with those situations that we found, they did test, but then there was no like next step. It was just sort of, here's the information.
Or it was
Yeah.
like, here's a leaflet if you feel you need help or support. wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a lot of like dubious information at that point.
But also, they took a while to get back to us with what the results were, because then once they told us what it was, this partial molar pregnancy, they were like, you really shouldn't be trying to get pregnant again. Me and Tom were very much in the mindset of keep trying,
There again.
keep going every month, every cycle.
Other than the molar pregnancy, did they give you any insight at that stage into why you'd had 2 miscarriages? Like, was there any underlying issues or anything like that?
They didn't. I mean, underlying issues, they wouldn't know. So, like, the first time round, because I miscarried at home, they couldn't test anything. They were just like, it was unlucky. And then the second one, because it was in the hospital, they could test the tissue and tell us what it was.
Yeah.
So I guess we were lucky in that sense. But like, a molar pregnancy is just totally random. It's not genetic. It can happen to anyone. It can happen again with the same stats in how rare it is. But and
what was funny so I'll tell you a bit about that in a minute once we've had to finish this story, because I've got a theory. But also, how bad is this? The doctor at the time when Amy was in surgery was like, "Oh, just to avoid these situations in the future, you should really have an early scan, because if you see the heartbeat, it's very unlikely that these molar pregnancies will occur." And we're sitting there going, "Have you read her notes?
yeah,
She's had an early scan, seen the heartbeat, and she's had a molar pregnancy." And he went, "Wow, yeah, you're very unlucky." Oh my god, it's a shambles. However, so then the hospital said to wait 3 months.
yeah. There's all the tissue. Basically, it's like a tumorous growth.
Yeah.
A molar pregnancy. And so they had to send off fortnightly urine samples, I think, where they tested the hormonal levels just to make sure that the pregnancy hormone had gone, and that there was, because even if one cell had been left behind after the MVA, they called it, the vacuum thing, that can grow and multiply into more cells and become like a tumor, a cancer.
Yeah. And that can make you really unwell as well.
Yeah.
It's one of my least favorite terms among all of this, actually. I think that it's called RTOP, which is retained tissue of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Which is just one of those ones, isn't it? That's like so overly medical. Like it does exactly what it says on the tin, but it just, Anyway,
sidebar, Tottenham just won for the first time in a long time. Just beat us.
Go on, the Spurs.
And United beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
3-2.
Really.
I think it went 2-2 when we were in the car on the way back, and I didn't see the
Kobe Mainu. So then we waited 3 months, and all of this tissue was sent off to the lab in Sheffield. The Sheffield lab were really, really, really good. I don't know who they were part of or anyone.
Well, they're molar pregnancy specialists.
Yeah. They were good. All the information very quickly, very helpful. However, that information then, what do you do with information that you don't understand? It's
And then obviously we had this 3-month wait then of like, knowing we can't try. And then it gives you time to think about the what ifs, like, what if we try again and we have another miscarriage, or like what are we gonna do if we can't have another baby? Like, we were lucky enough to have one, I guess, but we really wanted two.
yeah, we were like,
And it was just time to play tricks on you mentally, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a really dark period of time.
Which again would have been great to be more aware of Tommy's, because they probably would have been a very supportive charity at that time
That's what they
in
do.
like, listening, giving us advice, other people that have suffered with similar things, which would be loads of people.
Anyone, like back to the Johnny and me run on a Friday morning, just to know someone else had been through something, it would have just been nice, because that 3-month gap for both of us, different reasons, was pretty dark. And we were adamant that Florence was just a miracle child.
We were just super lucky.
Yeah, and super lucky. So then 3 months went, we had sex again, and got pregnant straight away again. That was, I can't remember the month now, but we were into like going into like a year territory from just starting. And you're like, oh my God, it's happened again. But then,
You were in Dublin on a stag do, do you remember?
yeah,
And I told you.
Sean's stag. No, yeah.
Oh no,
No,
I
yeah.
met you after the stag, but you stayed in Dublin and we had a little holiday.
Yeah, but it was starting to happen when you came out. But the difference between the first and the third one, the first we went in all confident, this is fantastic, no worries. The third one we were like, well, I was. I know you
I
were.
just called you, didn't I? Like, it's positive, but it doesn't mean much.
Yeah. So
Which is such a different reaction to like the first ever positive pregnancy test we did, It's like, it's crazy how that changes, isn't it?
the second one was dark. The first one was, oh, it's happened. The second one was dark. The third one, we were managing our expectation, Amy managing mine, me managing Amy's, like getting into that.
But also thinking it would be super, even more so unlucky if this wasn't going to be successful.
I was putting all the percentages into the calculator, like, oh my God, it's so unlikely. And unfortunately, happened again. Spot it, and that's it, isn't it? Oh, I remember now how dark it was for Amy, even on the third one, was every time she went to the toilet and is checking. It's
checking for blood.
That is, I remember at the time.
Every time you wipe.
And I was like,
thinking, oh, I don't want that.
And as the bloke, it's just, there's nothing I could do. Nothing. Every time. And then obviously Amy was wiping and there was more blood. Oh, Google's just a little bit of spotting implantation, like just hanging on to any thread of hope. And then obviously lo and behold, unfortunately it came out, didn't it?
No, that was the first one.
The third one, what happened to the third one?
The third one, I think, was a chemical pregnancy, because like I also did a early pregnancy test because we were going to Dublin that weekend. So I was like, I want to know if I can drink or not, basically. When in Dublin.
And it was positive, and then
it was positive. But yeah, I think I basically call that one a bit of a late period because I didn't really believe it was positive anyway.
But then why do you not believe it? Like, is it because you've been through
what
it
happened
over the last year? Every time you go to the toilet, you're checking for blood. Like, it's just what it does to your head. Again, coming back to Tommy's, it would have been really handy to chat to someone and just say, Amy, what you're going through is normal. This is what you should expect. I don't know. But for me, I don't mean to, it's going to sound, I don't want it to sound bad, but I felt helpless in helping my wife. I know what she was going through.
That doesn't sound bad at all, Tom. That's such a common thing.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible. It's an impossible situation.
There isn't anything you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting chat with Kieran a few weeks back and both of us had sort of had a similar moment where we'd actually reached a point where we realized to stop trying to fix it. Like post miscarriage, like I remember the first two, maybe 3 weeks after Amy's miscarriage, it was like, it's going to be fine. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Let's go for a walk. Do you want to speak to this doctor? Just anything and everything. And then I think one afternoon we were sitting on the sofa and I came up with another like inane idea that I just was clutching at straws and Coop's just like, I just want to sit on the sofa and do nothing for the afternoon. I don't want to.
And just have a little cry.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, me too. And actually, there's nothing we can do to fix this. We just need to get to the point in time where it doesn't feel as shit anymore.
Now, think about, we see you quite a lot when we talk quite a lot when we do see you. And I've never ever heard you say that. And that's exactly how, it's just identical. And like, we would not be talking about it if it wasn't for this. And then I can't believe you just said that, because it's just unbelievably identical.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
And you two are quite open people as well. Like, you talk openly a lot.
Well, Amy's mum's round tonight looking after the babies. Spoiler of the story.
Spoiler.
Yeah, the babies. And she, Alison, is you know, a midwife, works in that community of being a health visitor, so deals with this a lot. And I was like, is there anything you want me to say, or anything you would say if you're honest? It's just like, it's just such good awareness and visibility. And it's a good point that I'm not shy in coming forward about talking about these things, but I know so many people that this sort of platform allows people to get rid of that negative energy and feel part of something, and hopefully do a lot of good. So yeah, it seems like a simple point from Alison, but it makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's often not even that people are unwilling to talk about it themselves. I think there's a lot of people who would absolutely love to offload, but it's knowing who and in what circumstances and in which situations it's going to be well received. And I don't think there are many people who, if their mate came to them and said, we're having a bit of a shit time, we've had a couple of miscarriages, can I chat to you about it? I think there's hardly anyone who's going to be like, no, go away. But because it's, as you said straight off the bat, Tommy, because it's something that is so rarely spoken about just in media, society as a whole, you get led to believe, I think, that when it does happen to you, you're like, no one's going to want to talk to me about this. I've never had a conversation about miscarriage with anyone. Like, people talk about being pregnant all the time, but I've never had a miscarriage. I've never had a conversation about miscarriage with anyone. So who's going to want to have that conversation with me? No one. Well, then I just won't say anything.
Yeah, you stupidly worry about like lowering the tone a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm not great actually. I've just had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be that person to lower the tone almost, but it's you should be open, shouldn't you?
You should, and this is what this is about. This is because good bit of fundraising today. Thank you to Alison's friends. But all of it, from the running to the t-shirts to the fundraising to just sending it to people that you wouldn't send something to, it's created such a open forum of communication that, you know, I was having a chat with a lad at the beginning of the London Marathon because he had a Tommy t-shirt on and I wore mine to the start. We were just having a chat about it. And that's what, you know, coming back to your first question, I think we're still on that question, why we're here today, is that I'm chatting to Dave from Barrow about miscarriage. Like, he was a big burly bloke and a spindly little me at the start line, but, you know, that would have never happened before this. And not just Tommy's, but this Marathon for Miracles journey and project. Can you call it a project?
Sure.
Cool. Let's call it a project.
I guess, you know, on that, what was disappointing after the third miscarriage is you can only get help from the NHS. It only becomes recurrent after 3.
Yeah.
And even the support after 3 miscarriages
Was toilet brush.
Yeah, like you know, the Chester Countess, they don't have that specialist department anymore. So I was referred to Liverpool Women's, and didn't hear from them for months.
Didn't get. I actually heard from.
And that's to have tests to find out. Okay, this is recurrent now. Let's find out if there's any issues, what those issues might be. And I didn't even hear from them for months.
That's the main part of this whole podcast today. Really,
6 months
is Tommy's and that situation there. And Amy's been through 3 miscarriages. We got sent up. No, we got sent up to talk to the midwife and then sent home. And they were like, oh, we'll have a proper session with you in a couple of weeks. We went into the session and they gave us a leaflet and said, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you right now. We'll refer you to Liverpool Women's. And at that point, they got in contact with me. They test my sperm. I think that's quite easy.
Yours was really quick, actually.
Yeah, test my
sperm. Yeah.
That's my soldiers. But yeah, Amy, we didn't hear from them. And that was quite hard for me, us, when we're sitting down having dinner on a Wednesday night going, what should we do? What's the next step? How do we move forward? How do we have a child? Like,
Yeah, like, do we try again now, naturally, and risk another miscarriage if there is an underlying issue from one of us?
so that was for us, speak for both of us, I think. That was the hardest time.
It was not knowing whether to move forward naturally or have tests, or because that costs a lot of money as well. It was like, it was
Yeah.
the unknown, wasn't it?
Um,
There must be something wrong now. We've had 3, and that's what they class 3 as recurrent. So there's an issue.
Yeah. And Amy, we had a
Well,
private.
that's been the big news this week, which I don't know if you guys saw. Tommy's have pioneered a study at Hospital in Birmingham, I think, over a few years, whereby they have cut the waiting time down to 1 miscarriage. Like, as soon as you've had a miscarriage. So obviously it's not a national thing yet, but Tommy's have done a research project. It's like, as soon as you've had 1 miscarriage,
Yeah.
you can come see us. We'll do these tests and see what the outcomes are. And it might be that the answer is still, we're not sure, you're unlucky, go again.
Yeah.
But they found that
They could spend a certain
they
amount.
should, they've like extrapolated the figures, and they're like, this could save 10,000 miscarriages a year from happening.
Yeah.
And they've done a full report on what the knock-on cost savings would be to the NHS for not having to deal with, sounds like the wrong word, but you know what I mean, not have to manage women having subsequent miscarriages and et cetera, et cetera. And it's
Exactly.
been pretty groundbreaking this week.
Does it not blow your mind that this wasn't a thing somewhere already?
Yeah.
But these things need to be tested, need to be done, need to be piloted. The 3 miscarriage rule, I don't know what the thinking is, but there will have been some thinking behind it somewhere at some point. And it takes stuff like this to change those perspectives and change those outlooks.
Yeah.
And as ever, Tommy's doing work like this, and all the work they do is not something that they do for free. So if you're listening and you'd like to help Tommy's with the work that they're doing, please visit marathonsmiracles.com and click on the big donate now button.
Nice.
I've got a lot of questions. If you don't mind. If you do, sort of defeats the object of the podcast. But one question that really, one thing that really stood out, and I need to sort of check some timings first before I ask the question, but when was it that you had the first miscarriage? What dates are we talking about, roughly?
Gosh.
I can guess. Florence was 1, and it would have been 10 weeks after that. So it's about like start of June 2024. June 2024.
So
one of them was Amy's hen do.
Yeah.
I found out after Amy's hen do.
Yeah. Which was May 24. Yeah, just before our wedding.
Yeah.
Tom, you said that after the first miscarriage, you guys were sort of like pretty surprised, taken aback. The first one had been really smooth, had no real comprehension of miscarriage, what it was about, what it entailed. This is 18 months-ish after Amy and I had our miscarriage, which you guys knew about. This isn't accusatory, by the way. I'm not having a dig. And just, to me, it seems so indicative of exactly what we were just talking about, where one of your closest friends had a miscarriage 18 months earlier, and even still, it just hadn't really crossed your radar that it could also happen to you.
It's mind-blowing, and why this is so important, everything we're doing. You know, you explain that. I don't think I'm an idiot. I don't think any of us are, you know.
You just think it's so rare, like that won't happen to me. You just don't imagine it will.
Yeah.
Even with the 1 in 4 stats, you know, you just don't think that you'll be one of those.
But is it a protection mechanism of the body to just take you down a more positive route, and then once it happens multiple times, then you start, you know, managing your expectation? I don't know, but what you've just said, you can't wrap your head around it. It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Because there has to be wider as we said, there has to be a wider societal mindset at play there for you guys to have seen it happen very close at hand, and even still just be like, it won't be us. That's fine. The first one was fine. We're fine. Crack on. It's mad, isn't it? And it's part of the information game that we're certainly trying to play. Is like, how can we get that in front of people a bit more? And again, though, you said it, Amy, it's not wanting to be the person who puts a downer on the conversation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you get pregnant, there is a chance that it might not go the full distance.
Yeah, but how, like, I've been in this situation where the conversation's happening where my friends or people are telling us that they're having a baby and it's like 6 weeks. And I just want to say, like, amazing. But like, this is kind of what happened to us. Just being fully aware of what's going on. I don't, like, how do you do that?
When I find out people get pregnant now, my instant reaction is, I hope it goes well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like
and I don't necessarily say that out loud, but that's what goes through my head. And in some cases, maybe I do say it, but in a lot you go, congratulations. Congrats, really pleased for you. And and I am really pleased for them, and it is exciting, and it is a congratulations moment. But it just, for me now, and for you guys, obviously, it comes with a caveat, which I just don't think exists for a lot of people.
And you don't want to say that, do you? And like, just get too excited, or
I hope it goes well. It defines it well.
Yeah, it does.
I think, it depends on who the person is and how close you are, and like Amy was saying, the environment you're in. If you're at a party or but downer on it. But I think that is my immediate. I know it's our immediate response is like, so happy for you. But
how do you think your mindset shifted with each subsequent miscarriage? Because obviously you got pregnant again quite quickly after that first one. You'd had a very successful, perfect by all accounts, first pregnancy with Florence. How do you think your mindset changed after that first one, and then the second one, and the third one? Was it sort of one and then that was it? Like your mind had gone to a different place, or was it more of a progression?
I'm not going to answer your question out and out. I only could really answer you now. So as part of the story, Amy had a third miscarriage, and then she had a fifth pregnancy. Lost 3, 2 successful, and then we had our baby boy George, who is now 5 months old. And at that point, only can I answer your question and look back and go, wow, that was very, very, very hard. That was very, very sad. But I think when you're in it, and I don't know if it's the same with sport or work or anything, and this is me speaking, not Amy, you just get on with it. You just do what you can in front of you. You make everything okay. You make sure your wife's okay. You make sure you're happy, or try to be, and you just paper up the craps and the gaps and all the emotion. But when George was successfully born, that's when the wave of this sort of, is it grief, hit me, to be like, that was so dark and upsetting. And I was pretty broken through a number of weeks around those miscarriages that I didn't let my body sort of allow, if that makes sense. But I only realized that, and I can only answer your question with information from when post George being born, because that's when I sort of looked back on it and assessed it and try to build emotional conclusions around what your question was. And that's the only real answer I can do for you.
I guess for me, like, it was such a different pregnancy, like George's pregnancy, because firstly, we didn't know if there was anything wrong because we hadn't had any tests. We just waited for that. Okay, it's been 3 months since the Molar pregnancy. Scientifically, we're okay to try again. Don't know if anything's going to go wrong. And then we kept reaching the milestones in pregnancy, like 6 week of fetal heartbeat. Great. Oh, we've been here before and it's been wrong from this before. Or it's gone wrong, sorry. Then it's like, hanging on to the 12-week scan, where we've been to a 12-week scan and come out crying my eyes out. And it's that 6 week wait, even from the 6 to the 12 weeks. It's like wanting everything to be okay and not knowing. So we had another private scan, didn't we, at 10 weeks?
We had lots of scans.
A lot of money on private scans. But it was, because I just carried mentally the load of each miscarriage into that pregnancy, just presuming it was going to go wrong. And we got to 16 weeks, and I'm like, oh, we could find out the gender. Then we got to the 20-week point, and we were told things were okay. But the whole pregnancy, I was like, this could go wrong at any minute. Like, there could be something wrong with me genetically now. I don't know. We haven't been told. We just have to go along with it and hope for the best.
And it was pretty dark, the third one for you, wasn't it? With
Just the pregnancy was like totally different mentally for me with George, and it was a successful one, but that pregnancy compared to Florence's pregnancy, it was just so different.
to the point where the week before George was born, Amy was in the hospital 3 times in 7 days. Well, I got movement. Have I not? Oh, I better get in the bath because that will give me a load of movement. Oh, I'm in the bath. I've got no movement. And that's what it was like. It was a marathon.
Yeah.
It was a marathon for 39 weeks, obviously for Amy. But like, again, coming back to that point, me standing there like, I want to do something to help you. But it was, those 39 weeks went very, very slowly.
39 weeks, didn't we? And then they were like, oh, your amniotic fluid's low. Because I got put in for an extra growth scan, which I shouldn't have been put in for. It was a different midwife measuring the fundal measurement, and it just opened up a whole can of worms. And then they throw stats at you like, oh, well, you're going to have an increased risk of stillbirth if you don't be induced, and all this stuff thrown at us again. I was like, oh my God, this could happen again.
So that's a very good point of how did it make me feel with the multiple miscarriages. It really affected the end of the pregnancy with George, because Amy was in the hospital. Out of the 5 pregnancies she had, it was the first time she'd ever measured big, because she had a different midwife. All the midwives were lovely. And then she went in and they were like, right, amniotic fluid's low, risk of a stillborn is high. We need to get this baby out now. We're going to induce you. And Amy was like, no, I don't want to be induced. Then we had a week of conversations where they said, you're at risk. We need to induce you. Amy says, no, we go home. Same conversation happens again. And then finally on the Saturday, she just went into natural labor a week early, and George came so smoothly, so perfectly, so quickly in 22 minutes. Like, and none of that needed to happen. All those worried, anxious meetings and scans and conversations and wanting to be induced, wanting to do that, all that. Are we doing the right thing, Amy? We don't know what the advice is, Are we damaging the future of our baby? None of that needed to happen, because George just came out so happy, so smooth and lenient. But you look back to your question, combines emotions and feelings with the multiple miscarriages got to this point.
It's that cumulative effect, isn't it? That just leaves you in a different.
Like,
absolutely.
Anyone listening to this knows how Amy is just not an anxious person. And I've been with Amy. I met you in 2013, got to go 2014, whatever it was. I've never seen Amy anxious ever
Well, that's sort of my next question, really. How over that 18-month period?
Yeah.
Probably 2 years, including the full pregnancy of George.
Yeah.
How did you, without trying to turn this into a marriage counselling session, like, how did you see each other change as people over that?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, just coming back to what I just said, Amy's a great mummy. Before Amy had children, you wouldn't have expected Amy to be a mummy at all. She's just very maybe. Everyone knows what I mean by that. But as soon as Florence was born, she became this amazing mummy. What these miscarriages created was an anxious Amy, naturally, right?
Yeah.
With the lack of information we had and the worry of is it ever going to happen? It's a situation riddled with anxiety, and being told by experts who we've respected our whole life, go to the doctors, thank you, doctor, yes, that's right. Being told to do something completely in the very opposite to what you want to do, that's going to potentially help or damage or not damage the birth of your child. Yeah, it was just watching Amy's emotions just get fiddled around with. Amy was so strong, amazingly strong through that pregnancy, amazingly strong through the birth. The birth was amazing. If you want to, oh my God, that was, it was very impressive watching the way Amy coached herself through the birth, given everything that's going on, and to deliver this amazingly healthy boy so smooth and happy.
You were like pretty solid throughout the whole 18 months or 2 years, whatever it ended up being, and really positive. And you really didn't, which is unlike you, voice your worries as much. And you didn't tell me that until after George was born,
Yeah, I remember that.
about what your worries and
Yeah.
concerns were. Because I would often say to Tom, like in the pregnancy with George, like, I just keep having like a horrible feeling that I'm going to have a stillborn, or like a horrible feeling something's going wrong. Like I was being really negative, and you would like just talk me around, and we talk through the stats of that, and you just be really positive basically. But it wasn't until
Yeah, I remember.
post George that you were like,
Actually,
that's not what I thought.
yeah, I
I
thought.
didn't mean what I'd said. I was also shitting myself that the same thing was going to happen, but I just couldn't say it to you.
I remember.
So for me, it was just you being
Amy would
strong for me because I needed it at the time.
Amy would wake up from sleeping and be like, I've had another horrible dream about.
As opposed to.
Wake up from.
I don't know. I have no idea. She'd be like, I've had another horrible dream that George is born dead, or he didn't have a name at the time, obviously, and I was having the same bloody dreams and thoughts. So I forgot we had that conversation. The other part of this, and this is another part of the
just
body.
Quickly though, so you noticed that Tom generally is someone who would voice his concerns in quite a big way. Had you noticed that he wasn't, or were you so in your process that actually just someone talking you around was like, cool, this is exactly what I need?
Yeah, the latter completely.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until.
But in hindsight, you can be like, yeah, you didn't say anything negative the whole entire time, which is
very unlike you, Tom.
Yeah.
Not that you're negative, but you speak your mind. You don't hold back in what you're feeling, whether it's positive or negative. But yeah, in hindsight, it was all positive. So I probably would have thought, I don't think he's being all truthful.
Yeah, what's also interesting, like we're having a conversation here, and it's quite nice because we're remembering things as we go on, because now George is born and it's part of the body coping. And I think you'll agree with me that George is born, and a lot of that, real negative, horrible, dark energy and emotion, you do try and sort of push down. Would you agree? Now he's there, you can look at this beautiful boy with big blue eyes. Would you agree? You kind of forget some of some of it, because I think it's a coping mechanism, right? I'm assuming there's a lot of research behind that.
Would you suppress your emotions is perhaps a bit strong, Tom, but would you hide your feelings again in exactly the same way to have the same effect for you and for Amy and your family as it had? Or do you think in hindsight that was really unhealthy and that you should have done it completely differently?
No, I first part of your question, I would do it again. I think it was the only control I had over a situation that I think it was the right thing to do. I just remember when we actually spoke about it in the end, how when you watch a film and all, you can feel the emotions coming through your cheeks here. I just remember having that conversation, like, it's so freeing. But no, I don't know, maybe talking to someone like Tommy's who have some expertise in this would advise us differently, and maybe we, if this situation was to happen again, because I think we would like a third child, and we're very aware that this whole situation could happen again. I think that's a good time for us to chat to Tommy's and be like, hello, Mr. Tommy's, is that the right way to go about it? Or
Well, for you to have a one-to-one conversation with someone about how you're really feeling, and then maybe not to me.
Or maybe just to have brought it up on your Friday morning runs a bit sooner.
Yeah, big up Johnny. Actually, I've been big up everyone. Yeah, everyone that is out there doing it. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's just about finding that outlet somewhere, isn't
Yeah.
it? Last question on this. What advice could you give to another couple that was going through recurrent miscarriage, that are in the thick of it?
Talk to people. It's hard to say that there's hope and light at the end of most tunnels, but it's so important to speak to those closest to you. Sometimes those not that close to you that can give you an honest overview, but talk.
Yeah.
There's always a solution, whether it's,
I found that, like, when I went back to work after the first miscarriage, I didn't really speak about it and why I'd been off. And then the second time round, I did. And then actually chatting to like 4 of the girls in the department had also had miscarriages as well. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel immediately better just chatting, you know? And like hearing different stories and positive stories as well. And like that helped for me massively. Initially, after the first miscarriage, thinking I didn't really want to speak about it. Like it was a bit too close to home. I didn't want to, especially with people I wasn't close with, like work colleagues. And then realized actually how much that helped second time round.
speak, open up, don't be scared of coming forward. As we've spoken about a number of times in this podcast, it's so common. And I think it would open up a lot of doors in relationships and conversations and feelings if you just put yourself forward and talk about it.
Sound advice. I like that. Tom, should we try and talk about running without it being another 45-minute podcast episode? The short version. Tommy Morland, tell me about your running history. Tom,
God.
I put Tom in the semi-professional running ranks.
No.
From my perspective, Tom's a proper runner.
Running world. I used to do a lot of running as a kid, a track runner. Probably should have taken it a bit more seriously than I did. Discovered going out and another sport called basketball, which I probably should. Anyone that knows me, I wasn't naturally athletically gifted. It's probably more of a runner body than a basketball body. But yeah, stopped running and then picked it up as most of us do as an adult again and love it. As we've covered a few times, I love the social, I love the community, I love the positive arena. I love the people, right? You were asking me about running at a very low point in my running career after a very bad London Marathon last Sunday for a number of reasons. Training's been tough, just with 2 babies and work and injuries and bits and pieces. But yeah, I'd like to take my running pretty seriously. I just like the people around it, Ollie. Like I really do. Those Friday morning runs with a few of the lads, like it is good. It's good for your soul.
Is it therapy?
Pardon?
Is it therapy?
Hell yeah. There's no better therapy, especially when the sun's shining, the grass has just been cut. It's a bit lighter. You got a few lads out all just talking about nothing, but then just the most important things to be talking about at that time because it clears your head. Yeah, love running. This Marathons for Miracles project was such an exciting brainer project to be part of for me. And I'd like to finish having done at least 6 or 7 or so runs with you. Yeah, love running, my friend Ollie. It really is a therapy that I take quite seriously.
So it means a slightly different dynamic for me this weekend, with no offense intended to a lot of the people we've run with so far. It's been great for me to sort of, in some ways, help people to, in some cases, achieve their first marathon, and in others to get around a subsequent one. This weekend, Tom's going to be dragging me around, kicking and screaming. No, not kicking and screaming at all. I'm really looking forward to it. But what's the plan? What's the plan for Sunday? Sunday.
We're Sunday. I'm so excited about Sunday. It's such a nice run to do with you. It helps that we find conversation very easy. And we're going back to our, where it all began in Leeds. I love Leeds. It's a good run. You're fit. I can tell you're fit because you're trucking along very nicely at the moment. I should have a bit of marathon endurance in my legs from the training block for London, albeit London did not go well. So it could be a very enjoyable day out. We've got our families there. We've got the babies there. You're going to run a PB. We're going to do a very consistent right on the nose.
What are we going for?
What-
Coach Tom. Coach Tom gives me my timings this weekend. I'm just going to follow. I might not even wear my watch.
I think you want to run a 3:45 marathon, right? Which is
That'd be nice.
probably kicking around, someone will correct me, but like just over 5-minute kilometer pace.
Possibly. I work in miles, 830 miles, which would be 5:10.
Yeah. You've got that all day. We'll prep well. It's going to be a well-supported race. Our babies are going to be there. It's going to be a good day. Have we got anyone else running with us? Is it just going to be me and you?
Well, only the other 9,998 people that are doing the Leeds Marathon, but no M for M entries that I'm aware of. But there'll undoubtedly be some Tommy's t-shirts knocking around, which is always nice to see.
Well, I as I said, I took my Tommy's t-shirt to London Marathon last weekend, and I had a good chat with a few Tommy's runners, which was nice. It also helps that it's my name, which is quite nice as well. And so yeah, it should be a good run.
We didn't have our names on our tops at London, so we just got like Team Tommy's. We got a lot of Go Team Tommy's. Charlie, who I ran with last weekend, actually made a really interesting comment that there were lots of people who were getting cheers from lots of people around the course, but he sort of noticed that as and when Tommy's don't get as many cheers as other people, and it echoes what we've been talking about, basically. The sort of, if you know about Tommy's, you really know about Tommy's, but if you're not in that world, you don't know about Tommy's. But the cheers that you do get from the side of the course, like at London, for example, come with like eye contact and a real like knowing look and like a proper well done boys, go Team Tommy's. And it just really hits you.
That little bit more energy, there's something behind it.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. Sorry, I don't mean to just take away from that, but the mile splits at 8:35 miles, and kilometer splits would be 5:20s.
Okay.
So you're running, back to back 26-minute 45Ks. You've got that all day.
Well, I think we set off at a very similar pace to that in Cheshire at the start of the year. Not dissimilar course in terms of elevation. I think Cheshire was 400 odd meters. I think Leeds is not dissimilar. Leeds is by no means a flat course. It wouldn't be a classic PB course, but it's all tarmac. It's closed roads. There's crowds around. So I'm not too concerned about that. But
Right.
we were running those sorts of numbers in Cheshire. Then we got sort of scuppered a little bit by the fact that we stopped halfway through to go through the start sequence of a half marathon, which was great fun, but probably did us for about 10, 15 minutes, I should think.
And what did you got for?
4:15 was sort of the official time. You did one with stops.
I did one with stops. And
without stops, so we want, not counting, the time didn't count the stops. And it was started with a 3, I remember.
Yeah, it was 3:55
Yeah.
with 300 meters of elevation, 5:30 average pace, and that was 42.5 kilometers on the nose. But I was stopping like every time we stopped.
Yeah.
Because that's just me.
But we won't stop in Leeds. And that was also week 3. That was the first week 3 or 4. That was the first one I'd done at 4-hour pace. That was the first time I'd run at 4-hour pace since I'd done like my 20-miler early December. And then I'd sort of tapered a bit and then had a few slower weeks. So I was, I'm fitter then than I was now.
Well,
no doubt. I think if we set off at 3:45 pace and then see if we can rev it up a little bit within the last 10K if we're feeling lively. What do you think?
I'm there for you. It's a very nice pace for me. As long as I look after my little toesies, because it's a long time on our feet. But I think it's going to be a great day. The weather's going to be good. We're back in Leeds where I met my wife. I met your wife. It's going to be, it's a very exciting day.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all the people that have got behind it this week. I don't know if you see my fundraising, call it fundraising. Yeah. I've got so many people donated, even small amounts, but like who are part of it. And
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's again, conversations, everyone.
And it's different when you're running for charity because you've got all those people with you. I'm not that you don't have anyone supporting you when you're running in your club vest at London Marathon, but I don't know, it does make it Yeah, it makes it a different beast, and particularly at the Leeds Marathon. So Leeds is officially the Rob Burrows Leeds Marathon, which for people who don't know, Rob Burrows was, I think, probably the first high-profile sportsman who got motor neuron disease and has had significant fundraising efforts off the back of that, which is then, the My Name's Doddy Foundation has come on from that subsequently, and so it's a very charity focused run. And I know there was the news today about London Marathon having broken their own world record about being the biggest single day fundraising event. So there's obviously a lot of charity stuff going on at London, but there's also the elites and the English running champs and there's a lot of running focus there as well. Leeds is a very charitably focused marathon. So I think it's going to be pretty special from that point of view.
Rob Burrow played for Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah.
And we used to go to Leeds Rhinos when we were in Leeds because the Leeds Rhinos stadium was like our varsity stadium. So we knew it, and we used to go quite a bit. So we actually, Rob Burrow played for the team that we used to watch. So it's actually ties in quite nicely.
And we start and finish at Headingley Stadium.
Headingley Stadium, where it all began with my wonderful wife. But no, very exciting.
It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be a cracking weekend. Tom, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the gang. I'm eternally grateful for your enthusiasm and early support for this challenge from day one. And yeah, hopefully we can put a decent score on the board.
Fundraising's going well, eh?
Fundraising is going well. We've, I think we had the news by the time we recorded the podcast last week that we had hit. Oh no, it would have been the podcast I recorded with Ryan, that we'd hit our 39k team fundraising target heading into London Marathon. I said I was going to bask in the glory of it for a few days and enjoy London. And then set a new one. We've effectively done the only logical thing, having hit the target before halfway, and we've doubled the target. So we're now gunning for 78 grand. We're already on 42, I think it's moved on to since London, maybe 42 and a half. So, as ever, eternally humbled and grateful to everyone who donates, follows, donates to the various people running their own individual fundraising pages. It becoming, quite the year.
It's becoming a thing. It's wonderful to be a part of. I can't believe we're halfway through it. I can't believe you're halfway through it. From when I remember when you told me about it, and I was like, that is mental. And you've got your new family. It's so amazing. And everyone I speak to holds you in such high regard. And it's such a privilege to be doing this with you. Me, Ray, Al, and Amy were talking about it earlier. Honestly, it's a real privilege. It's it's nice to be your mate. It's nice to be your mate. And to be part of this, because it's crazy how much it means to us and how important this is to us. I can't stress that enough.
Thanks, Tom.
Rock and roll, brother.
I'll see you on Sunday.